Hello and welcome to MENSCHlife. I'm David Grossman. We're delighted to be back here broadcasting live in our studios on alltalktv.com. That's the name of our network, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Great to be here. We have some special guests today here on MENSCHlife. Sitting with us here, we have Limore Zisckind, who's been on the show before. She sang for us last time, and she's expecting. How many weeks, Limore?
I'm 38 weeks.
38 weeks, so that will leave another 2. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime now.
Anytime. We'll wait at least till the end of the show.
All right.
And we also have your grandfather, Henry Melnick.
Yes.
Welcome, Henry. Thank you very much for coming. And Henry's wife, Elaine, is in the studio with us as well. And we're here to talk about a book that Henry wrote. Limore, you helped your grandfather write it. It's about your Holocaust experience. Also, I'll just mention later on in the show, we have very special guests. We have Hadass Wittenberg-Silberstein. She's the Deputy Consul General of Israel in Toronto. She's with us. We're really pleased to have her going to be joining us in a little while. Talk about some of the crazy things, all the things that have been happening in the world. Everybody's talking about Obama's speech, the 67 borders, and so we're going to get her take on a few of the things that are happening right now, politically in the world, and also and try and find some of the good things that are going on, some of the festivals that are going on to celebrate Israel and so on. But first, we want to talk to Limore and Henry about this book, provocative title, By My Mother's Hand. So this is basically, Henry, this is your story of your life. You were. Tell us first of all, where were you born? And
I was born in Poland, in the city of Lodz, on the 25th of June, 1922.
Okay.
And the book is my story for before the war, during the war, and after the war.
Okay, now you were taken to a concentration camp?
I was in 2 ghettos and 5 concentration camps, including Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen.
And you were the only survivor from your family?
I'm the only survivor of my whole family.
And this is the book here that you wrote. You want to hold it up so we can have a look at? Let's have a look at it. This book is available. People can go to the website, which is actually bymymothershand.com. Mm-hmm. And that's your life story. You came to Canada, I think, in 1965. Is that right?
65, right.
Okay.
66 years ago.
66 years ago.
Sorry.
Wait a second, because I was born in 65.
46 years.
46 years ago.
46 years ago.
Okay, terrific.
And this is the story why by my mother's hand, why I can explain why by my mother's hand.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I worked for the Germans during the war in 1942 at the German Air Force. And there was the resettling of that town where I was, and they approached me, a high-ranking German officer from the Air Force, and told me to give him his name, my name. Mm-hmm. I gave him my name and the other few boys who worked there also. And he said, I heard about the resettling, and I would like you boys remain in town and work for me. So I told it to my parents. My mother said, if you can, stay. But at the day of the assembly where we were all standing on a riverbank to be resettled, it means by the final solution,
Your mother said to you, if you can stay, don't go, she said to you?
Don't go.
Okay.
Don't get resettled. So, but I made my mind up that I want to go with my parents. Whatever will happen with them will happen to me. Mm-hmm. And when they called my name, I saw the high-ranking German officer, who I never saw after it anymore. And I don't know why he did it. He went to the chief of the Gestapo in town and gave them a little list with the names. And when they called my name, I didn't answer because I wanted to go with my parents.
Okay.
So my mother, when they called the second time, and I didn't answer, she gave me a push with her hand that I flew out maybe 10 feet from the line.
Yeah.
And so they saw me already, they took me aside. Now if not my mother's hand and the high-ranking German officer, I wouldn't be here. My bones would be resting in Belzec on the Polish-Ukrainian border.
So your mother saved your life.
Yes.
That's, I had somebody on the show not too long ago tell a very similar story about they were actually like in a concentration camp and the mother pushed the daughter forward. It was almost identical. It's a Toronto author. His name is Elie Rubinstein.
I know
think
Elie.
I know.
I think, and he also recently wrote a Holocaust book, and I think it was almost the same thing, if I'm not mistaken, very similar.
I was with Elie Rubinstein on the
March
March of the
Living.
Living.
Okay, well, there's actually two Elie Rubinsteins.
Okay.
Okay, this is the one he's the builder from H&R.
No, so it's a different.
And that's so
Yeah.
there's actually two, and they're both, so the Elie Rubinstein that I'm talking about wrote a Holocaust story too called The Italian Renaissance. And it was similar. So you came, Henry, to Canada in 1965.
Yeah.
First you went to Israel.
Yes, I was in Israel. I participated in the independence war. I have the outcome mute for it.
The what, sorry?
The independence
Okay.
medal.
Oh, okay, right. So you participated in that war, and then you met your wife Elaine in Israel?
No.
You
I
met her in
got
Canada?
Married. Elaine is my
Okay.
second
She's your second wife?
marriage. My wife passed away 22 years ago.
Okay, gotcha. So now, Limore helped you to write this book.
Yes. But the whole story is my story.
Mm-hmm.
We spent probably 30 hours just sitting and writing down everything.
Mm-hmm.
Each story is the whole book is a true story.
Two different stories?
True story.
True.
True story, yes.
And no more and no less.
Right.
He didn't want to embellish or put any
Right.
opinions or judgments, so as you read through, he tried to keep it as much to the facts and what happened rather than judging other inmates or people in the story. He just wanted to keep it as factual as possible, not embellish. And we spent many nights over chicken soup, Elaine's chicken soup,
Right.
writing it down. And what I realized very quickly is after watching my grandfather speak at many different occasions, he lectures at universities and high schools, is as much as I tried to remember every detail of his story and the timeline and the order, I couldn't remember every little detail, and if I had to recount the story myself, I wouldn't be able to do it. He lived it, I didn't live it, and as much as I hear it, I'll never be able to tell it the same way. And I was scared that my children's children would never have the chance to get an accurate picture of what happened to my grandfather.
So was it a real learning experience for you, spending all this time with your grandfather, going through all these details?
Absolutely. I consider it an honor that I got to spend this precious time with him, because through the process I learned things I didn't even know, because when you lecture you can only speak for half an hour, and imagine 30 hours of speaking.
Right.
So you get really into details, and there were